recording.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Mate, what a privilege. This is fantastic.
Oh, look, I just try to fucking I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't do things 50%, 60% or 70%. I'm like 200%.
We're going to get along just fine.
Like, let's go. Welcome to another podcast. We've got another photographer with us here today, Rich.
Thank you.
Richie
you for having
Rich.
me. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, this is honestly unbelievable. It's a privilege to be here, like I said before, but yeah, it's someone that I've looked up to and aspired to be. And
fucking hell.
like that.
What are you doing to me first thing in the morning? Jeez, I'm getting all hot and bothered.
Please.
Mate, sounds like you want to take me out on a date on Valentine's Day.
Coming up and, fortunately I don't have a date for that one, so you might be on the cards.
Hey, I don't either, but anyway, I'll probably be shooting somewhere or doing a podcast.
I'm sure there's pretty ladies that you could be hanging out with rather than me anyway, so.
Mate, how did you get into photography? Thanks for the coffee, by the way.
Oh, more than welcome, mate. Absolutely. I kind of took it up as a bit of a joke, the whole Asian stereotype, lean into the whole, Asian guy with a camera sort of vibe.
Hang on, are you Asian?
Hey?
Are you Asian?
Can you tell by my smile? No, I took it up just as a little bit of a hobby. I did a lot of landscape and food photography because that's easy.
Of course you took up landscape.
Right? 550D with a 50 mil and all of a sudden I'm running around.
Yeah.
But then the funny part was I kind of put down for a while my friend Ben, who's a cinematographer, Australian cinematographer. He kind of just encouraged me to pick up the camera again. Next thing I know, I was trying to shoot people.
Yeah.
And that's when it really got difficult.
Yeah, people are difficult.
Yeah. It's
because it's a different technique to landscape, right?
Absolutely. Landscape, I kind of feel with, anyone with a decent camera can take a photo of a nice waterfall or a nice beach.
Can they?
Yes and no. Editing, maybe not so much.
I mean, you got to learn the three principles of using a camera in order to take a good waterfall shot.
True. I agree with that.
But I suppose if you play around with it enough, then you're bound to fall into the right ISO and the right shutter speed.
But I think, when you pick it up early, auto is a fantastic thing. And then
auto's great, but
of course,
it's all vanilla.
Absolutely. And then I think that's where the whole introduction of shooting people, what came into it was it's a new level of learning how to shoot angles, lighting. I'm still learning that to this day. So it's.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, come on, mate.
I'm finding it hard to breathe in here. My head's so big. Stop it. Stop it.
But it's good. And I think that's what I mean. It's getting to meet people like yourself and getting to bounce ideas off and having inspiration like that is actually a good thing.
Yeah, totally. It totally is. Okay, so you started with landscapes and then your mate said,
yep, pick it up. Let's go back out there and start shooting. Next thing I know, because he wanted me to get into the whole YouTube phase and all that kind of jazz with him.
Yeah.
Never picked that up, never really had a chance to.
It didn't. I feel like YouTube hasn't really picked up here in Australia anyway. So YouTube in Asia, holy shit! It's everyone talks about YouTube this, YouTube that. Like Instagram is nothing in Asia.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Because of the YouTube movement, really picked up in Asia. Like everyone's got like a YouTube channel or so basically what that means is they really focused in on like long form content rather than short form content. And I think that's just what the community wanted, like over there, what the region wanted. Holy shit, I need to close that door.
Days. Yeah, and I've always found it quite interesting with the whole, that sort of thing. In cinematography and all that kind of jazz is actually quite interesting with transition basis and learning all of that as well. That was quite good for me, but at the same time, it's wasn't my niche, wasn't my forte.
Yeah.
Didn't have the time to sit down and learn all those principles as well. So I kind of stuck to photography pretty hard.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, the reason why I kept going, and I've been doing it for a few years now, is the people. I think that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Because you get to meet a whole range of people, and you never know what you're going to get out of them, whether it's just going to be friends, business, whatever it is. But the networking side of what we do is awesome.
And you seem like a real people type of person anyway.
Sales.
Right? And so I think that's where that's what makes you a successful photographer versus a hobbyist, or the characteristics of a successful photographer or anybody successful is someone who is good with people, can communicate, but can also execute. And that communication piece, I think, there is something about being charismatic in the way that you talk to people or communicate with people and deal with, the varying levels of complexity that come with emotions and perceptions and,
massively.
agendas and like all that type of stuff.
And it's really interesting that you bring up a lot of that in the last part. Is that, the biggest thing for me and in what I shoot and what, in the niche that we kind of lean into, I've always found it difficult. Like, when you reach out to someone, you want to shoot with them and things like that, first meetings, everything. Like, I think the biggest thing I've always thought about is like, if they've ever felt uncomfortable doing what we're doing, I've failed. It's not, that's not, we're there to enjoy our time and, capture some awesome images and enjoy that. Like, that's the cool part about what we do.
Yeah, 100%.
And if they ever felt uncomfortable or this and that, I think that's just, and then unfortunately there's a lot of that in the industry.
Yeah. And
Too much of that. And being charismatic and everything, you just, eases the mood and being, relatable.
And there's a fine line between being charismatic versus being like flirty or sleazy,
Again, that's probably the line that I never try to cross in that space. It's all fun and games, and obviously when you develop better friendships and the banter becomes funner, and that's different.
Yeah.
I've worked with several of the girls, and we're great friends now, and it's totally different.
Shout out to Belle. I think you've got a fanboy here, Belle.
Oh, absolutely. Do you blame me?
Nah. She's a cutie.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I mean. In terms of, but again, it's the networking side of things. It's unbelievable. I've met so many fantastic people doing this. Well, evidently, I'm sitting here with you. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
Fucking hell, man. Stop it. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I just love giving back to the community. And so the reason I'm doing this, I've set this podcast up because I've gone through and I've seen lots of different people and met lots of different people and been through every possible scenario you could possibly think of. Yeah. And I just want to highlight you guys.
That's unbelievable. It's awesome.
I want to highlight your work and I want to highlight your personalities and what's the personality behind the photo or behind the camera, and be able to tell your story, because I think it's kind of like a new frontier.
Absolutely.
And being able to do that just means that one, people get to learn about you, but they also get to see me being an even more of an idiot, which is kind of my brand.
But I think that's the personality that kind of attracted me to want to do more things like this, especially with you, right? Yeah. Because when I did meet you in the context we did, it was so funny because, again, for everyone, mutual friends-wise, mentioned that they knew you, very funny, like we'll catch up, whatever, reached out on Instagram, replied, already stoked, met at Sexpo, I had to run up and say hello. Unbelievable timing.
I mean, I do just kind of stick out though. It's very hard to miss me.
To be fair, that was probably the first time. And my big one was like, what's he going to be like? Because, sometimes people big on Instagram, all that kind of stuff, they're a bit, bit up there. But mate, that was awesome.
Yeah, I just don't give a shit. And I'm like, which is also why, like, I'm not afraid of putting up the cringeworthy stuff of like me, you know,
But if
like
it's you
like
attract the right people.
like posing or like just cracking jokes, or like sometimes like on this podcast, I'm like looking at my hair going, what the fuck's going on with your hair, buddy? Like, how can you not put like, you've had long hair for almost 2 years now. How have you not worked out how to do a proper ponytail or like a proper man bun? Come on, mate.
How long have you been doing photography and everything for? Like, what's your journey? That's probably one I haven't really tapped into.
11 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
what's your origin story? You know what I mean? Where's the Marvel origin story?
Well,
What's your tail, Mother Goose? This is great.
what sparked me coming out was Singapore chili crab. Yeah. My mother was pregnant in Singapore and went out for dinner, and she went out for dinner with a friend and my dad and had Singapore chili crab, and boom, I came out.
And I'm ever so thankful for it. Gonna have to try that dish. That sounds great.
It's fucking delicious. It's so good.
It's awesome.
But I grew up in Southeast Asia.
Right.
Because my mum is Indonesian.
Mhm.
And moved to Perth when I was 14.
Wow.
Moved to Melbourne when I was 21. Did lots of different things.
Mm.
You know, in Perth I studied electrical engineering.
Really?
Yeah. When I came here, I was in banking and finance for 12 years. Yeah.
What a switch.
Yeah.
Where was the trigger? Where was the I'm gonna pick up a camera?
So apparently when I lived in Perth, I was saying to people, I'm going to become a photographer, but I didn't know how or when or what.
Yeah, right.
But because interestingly, I think it was probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I caught up with a friend here in Melbourne who I met in Perth, who I'd lost contact with. She just popped up on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
and her profile photo, there were two people in it. And I thought the person's profile was the person on the right, but it was actually the person on the left. And when I kept looking at the person on the left, I was like, do I know this person? Like, this person seems really familiar. And then she was like, she's like, oh my God, is this Andrew from Perth? We used to go.
What are the chances?
Used to go out night clubbing, and I'm like, holy shit. Anyway, so she said, so we caught up.
Yeah.
Like, we've been out a number of times, but we caught up. She was like, I can't believe you're into photography now, and like you're doing photography. Look at you. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, don't you remember? Like, you were saying in like the late 90s that you were going to be doing photography. And look at you now. I'm like, oh shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wow, the journey kind of into that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you miss the other stuff at all?
No, well, I still do business consulting.
Yeah.
So I do consulting, which I'm very thankful for. But yeah, like
I like that we can pick this up kind of whenever, and you know, there's always things to shoot, places to go.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about the versatility around what we do. It's cool.
The flexibility and creativity is endless. And I've said this on other podcasts, you're only limited by what you think you can or can't do. Because either way, you're right. So if you think you can't do it, then you're right.
That's a really good one. That's a really good insight.
But if you think you can do it, you're also right. Because, like, we're only bound by what blockers we put in here, you know?
No, I'm on a big journey of that at the moment, doing that whole self-discovery phase thing.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. It's, once you've worked it out, then like you just keep doing that and you keep doing it, and then next thing you know, things just keep falling into place.
I think the whole notion of not saying no to opportunity at the moment is actually a really interesting venture. When things pop up, you say yes. Look at this, here we are. You know what I mean? It's a really interesting piece.
Yeah, I have to force myself to say no.
Same. That's the hard part, isn't it?
Because I just get so excited. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like let's fucking do it.
Absolutely. I was like, do you want to shoot? Yeah, of course. When? Oh, of course. I love 3 shoots on a day. It's awesome.
3.
Sometimes.
My max is 5.
That's unbelievable. I try not to anymore because I want to actually utilize the time and do it well.
And a couple of podcasts in there as well. Bro, what am
This gig is great. The podcasting section is awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Get to hang out with people all day and have a chat. How good is this?
The reason I did it was because I started doing the interviews after photo shoots at the end of last year. And I really love the process of like asking questions and like just kind of like having fun with it and like capturing it on camera.
That's the best part.
I fucking hated editing it though. Because again, I'm like, what are you doing with your hands, buddy? Like talking to myself. What are you doing with your hands? Or why the fuck you wearing a yellow shirt? Like never wear a yellow shirt ever again. All right?
Oh, I like the pink though.
Because of my skin tone and because of anyway. But
I feel that.
Anyway, and then I'm the type of person who if I've already formed an opinion on myself and I know I don't like it, like the flip side to that is that's an opportunity. So I saw that as opportunity to improve.
Yep. And
so I just kept doing the interviews. And then I thought to myself, okay, I absolutely love the interaction piece.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But the interviews are only like 4 to 5 minutes, sometimes even less. And so naturally I was like, well, shit, I've got most of the gear for doing a podcast. I should do a podcast.
Yeah, right.
So I did a podcast and did another one, and this is number 20.
That's awesome.
I started at the end of December.
And you're 20 down.
And I'm 20 down. Last week I did 6. What?
Just the yes man?
What? Yeah. But I just love it.
I got really interested with what you discuss and what you talk about. I'm very big like that.
I'm getting better at it because I think that the other aspect is I'm very big on seeing it as an opportunity, but trying to live up to my own mantras. Live up to my own advice, and my own advice to other people is just get out there and do it.
Well, here's one for you. Practice makes progress.
Yeah.
Perfection's a relevant term because you stop learning if you think you are.
Yeah.
And the more you work on things, the better you get, the better approach you have.
Correct.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the mantra I live by a lot is practice makes progress.
Yeah, and it's not perfect. It's so the old version of that is practice makes perfect.
Correct.
But in actual fact, it's not. It's progress.
Because at the same time, if you feel like you've reached perfection, you stop doing what you're doing, you never, it's not, you do it because you enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
You're always learning.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
That's why you meet people and you network because you learn more from others.
Correct.
Like people can be horrible to each other. However, people are also the best because they can teach you so much about you and so much what you can do and can't do.
Yeah.
It's an alleviation of a lot of things personally if you can meet the right people and surround yourself. But the big thing that you talked about being yourself, you get to surround yourself with the people who want to be with you and who are similar to you. That's the best part about it. If you're not yourself, you're not surrounding yourself with the right people.
If you're not yourself, who are you?
Correct. Mate, everyone made the joke. It's like, oh, this is villain era. Do what you want. Absolutely. I'm not saying no, and I'm not saying sorry anymore. Being who I want to be and what I want to do.
Yeah. I think it's a lot about being authentic as well.
Absolutely.
Being authentic, not only...
And genuine.
not only for like people to see who you are, but also for you to take responsibility in being who you are as well.
Yeah.
And just living up to like your own self.
It's an interesting one with the whole personal development thing. Have you ever heard of a book called Atomic Habits?
I actually downloaded the audio book. I'm going to start listening to it.
Start on chapter 2. So I listen to that every day. No shit.
Okay.
No word of a lie. Every single day, I start with chapter 2 and then kind of progress throughout the day with what I listen to.
Do you ever go back to chapter 1?
From time to time, yes. Again, the value of what chapter 2 provides, you'll see it when you start listening. And
Okay.
I'm telling you, I think that's where I'll touch base with you and go, what do you think?
Okay.
Because there's like, on the side note of this, I do a lot of...
I like what you did there. You're already scheduling a second podcast.
Absolutely.
Did I just get the double eyebrow bounce? I'm going to fucking cut that into a short.
Please do. But however, yeah, it's one of the... Because outside of the photography and everything, I do sales training and personal development coaching, which is really fun.
Right.
Yeah, my mate got me into it because he's like, oh, come down, chat to my guys. I was like, absolutely, it's fun. I love talking to people. Imagine, your job's yelling at people and it's fun. Helping them develop is awesome.
I mean, that's kind of what I do with my consulting.
Right. There you go.
But that's...
Business consultant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the sales side of things. Sales training's fun.
So tell me about you, though.
In what sense?
Like, okay, so you started with photography and like landscape, but take me back to like, what's your Marvel story?
We moved here when I was very young from the Philippines. My whole family moved in.
From Manila.
From Manila. Dead set.
Everyone outside of the Philippines is from Manila. Because I think they realize fucking Manila's not the place to be.
No.
Let's go outside.
Well, it's funny. You either end up in Sydney or Melbourne, right? Because I got family still in Sydney, and a lot of us kind of moved here in Melbourne because we got a lot of family here. From then, kind of progressed through, kind of started from nothing and built our way up to where we are now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And good culture and good hard work ethic, and parents really drove that in with work hard and good things will come to you, which is awesome culture.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I've just kind of been working. I went to uni did a Bachelor of Psychology. That was fun, but never kind of really progressed. I took up work first and put the study aside. Said I'd always go back, but good thing is when you learn about that sort of stuff, you have a different perception of people and all of that.
100%.
Unbelievable.
So you're a professional people watcher.
Pretty much, yeah. Behavioralism is fantastic.
Yeah, once you can work out and see signs of people's behaviors, you're like...
Body language is a beautiful thing.
It's perfect for photography.
Correct.
Body language.
You can tell when they're uncomfortable, or if they're not, I wouldn't say awkward, that's not really the right word, but if they're not familiar with being in front of a camera, you can certainly tell.
Yeah.
So, my first hour is being an idiot, laughing, joking, playing music, dancing around, set the tone, set the mood. I always say my first hour is the shittest when I do this kind of work. And then once we kind of get in the groove, everyone's more comfortable, all of a sudden, that's when the magic happens.
Shit. So how long are your photo shoots then?
Anywhere from 2 to 3,
Okay.
depending.
Yeah.
So, for example, if it's location shoot, I generally do 2 to 3 because the first hour, again, we're just piss farting around, walking to places, all that kind of jazz. I'm not, studio ones are a bit shorter.
Yeah.
Because, that's pretty much just bang, 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 bang. So,
yeah. So, okay. So you guys, your parents decided Melbourne, and you stayed in Melbourne, and then, so how did you get into like sales training and that kind of piece?
Kind of been in sales and real estate. Oh, I used to be a real estate agent, funnily enough.
Right.
Yeah, one of those scrubs. Nah, they're all right. But yeah, no, I did that
They're
for
all
a
right.
while.
There's a need for them.
Yeah, did a few years of that, and
everyone needs a house to live in.
Exactly. But it's
That's
also at the
always
same time, I learn a lot about trust and rapport with people, considering, like, if I ask you, like, what is the least trusted profession out there? It's a real estate agent, funnily enough. Everyone's got a predisposition that you're a bad person. It's not necessarily. People don't like, what the job is. It's the morals of people that make it look bad. But in saying that, I did sales for a little while, and then I got into talent development and recruitment. So I did more or less training the little devils to be real estate agents.
Training the
new little demons, you know what I mean? But it was good because I get to teach them in the notion of being genuine and not, I used to get in trouble for being too nice to people.
What?
Yeah. But at the same time, it was fine.
As a real estate agent?
Yeah.
Right.
Not alleviating certain things and all that kind of stuff. And being, at the same time, I'm not there to dog people or anything like that at all, because at the same time, at the end of the day, that's future business.
Yeah.
And I've had people still now saying, "Hey, Richard, can you sell my house?" Oh, sorry, I haven't practiced in about 5 years. Like, I haven't done it in a while.
I mean, you could, but
Realistically, yes. But at the same token, it's, and sales training kind of developed from then, because I've been in like heaps of different kinds of retail, passive customer facing and, customer centric focus selling, those kind of things, a lot of KPI driven work.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I've learned is actually how to talk. Everyone really undervalues.
It's fucking important to communicate talking.
But people skills is really hard for people. It's an interesting one. And that's what I coach in terms of, my first, I guess, section of my sales training is called Change the Narrative. It's really kind of understanding, that's why I have a perspective tattoo on my forearm. It's how you look at things and how you execute. It's what you do. You got to change how you speak to people, and evidently that's where you get better results. There's another one, multiple ways to skin a cat. That sort of, that whole notion. So it's good. It's fun. Being in an industry that you get to talk to people, and something like this would be fantastic.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Did you want to take up my services to set up a podcast?
Yeah. Mate, if I could even get remotely close to this, would be awesome. It's the comfort piece, get to hang out with you and we're just chatting. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. That's what it's all about.
I know.
That's like during COVID, I did have a podcast. I started a podcast, but it was just me.
Right.
And I just found it like way too hard. So I just like canned it.
Did you find it more just like the content you were trying to produce and things, and what was the hurdle there?
No, I think it was just the fact that I was like recording myself.
Right.
And so that in itself is like really difficult. And like because during COVID we were like forced, it was forced upon us to stay alone and all that type of stuff for isolation, lockdowns.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah. And so then I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this.
Is that where a lot more of your consultation work and everything came in?
No, I've been doing consulting work for like 13 years.
Oh, wow. Jeez. I'll have to touch base with you when I start a business.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up after this.
Yeah. We'll talk later. I'll give you my business card.
Yeah, we'll talk shop, please. Please do.
And but like, because I deal with people every single day, and I just love talking to people. I mean, I was telling you before about the cafe down my street.
Yeah, unbelievable. What a story.
Been here 3 years, didn't walk in there for the first year because I knew that I'd be there every day, and I'm there every day now. And I've been there every day for the last 2 years.
It's not a bad thing.
It's honestly. Not. It's totally like you get to
comfort and I like walking in feeling important when you go into somewhere like it's nice.
It's not so much the feeling important. Like I feel like it's that familiarity.
That's the word.
And the friendliness, and like I'll know if someone's having a bad day.
Yeah,
there, and I'll say something.
Of course,
and I'll make them laugh, and like I enjoy that.
I can get along very well, you and I.
Yeah, and then there are some that like I can be a little bit more cheeky, and some that I can't be a little bit more cheeky, and then like as I said, like sometimes I'll forget to pay the bill and I just walk straight out, but they know that I'll be back the next day.
Of course, of course.
Like, and I've started making kombucha again.
Oh,
and so like I'm producing 16 liters every 10 days, so I'm just like giving them bottles. I can't drink it enough.
What's your favorite flavor? Do you flavor them?
No, I don't. No, natural, all natural.
Jeez, haven't tried that before.
Yeah, so black tea and sugar, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah, I'll give you some later.
Oh,
you can have a try.
I'm very interested.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I know I did ask you this question before, but contentious question: what do you shoot on?
I do. At the moment, funny enough, I'm on a 5D3, so it's still, back in the old. I'm still shooting on that for a while. And
that's good. That's a 5D4.
Yeah, right. No, the 5D3 it's pretty good. It serves its purpose, and I'm shooting a 2870.
Yeah.
2.8, and I think once I've had that, and the variable lens was awesome. But now, moving in, I kind of want to really upgrade and ramp up the photography this year. I want to,
Yeah.
I want to look at it and go, I produce really nice work. Like that's what I want to get to.
Mirrorless is the way.
Right.
Yeah.
R5.
Yeah.
What have you kind of looked into the R6 II at all?
No. So honestly, I have idolized a photographer overseas for a long time, and then he put up a YouTube clip of how he customized every single button on his R5.
God. Oh my God.
So I'm like, oh, well, looks like I'm buying an R5.
Funny you say that.
And so then I customize every single button in accordance to that YouTube clip. So I'm basically shooting his camera, and that's what I use.
I'm very jealous, but also would like to have that video. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Joaquin Carlson, so he's married to the Julia, the redhead. Yeah.
I'm going to look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and funny, that's essentially why I'm kind of leaning towards that way now. Another guy I follow a lot, like outside of yourself, there's really 2 or 3 that I really idolize on Instagram and everything. And again, lovely guy. Ebb Society too. Ethan, really nice guy over Instagram and everything. But yeah, he's kind of saying like, I shoot an R5, this and that. And I'm like, that's awesome insight and something, if you guys can produce the work you do. And I know it's a lot of editing too, but at the same time, the camera does help to some extent.
Yeah, the camera, like if you can try to do everything that you can do before you take the shot, and that's even in accordance to like equipment, like you do pay for what you get for.
Right.
From a camera equipment perspective. So a lot of people will say, oh, you don't need to upgrade your camera, da-da-da-da. Mate, at the end of the day, it's all to do with your lens.
Absolutely.
Right? It's the quality of the glass and the sensor that's in the body.
Right.
Right? So you pay what you get for. I mean, look at medium format cameras, right? Like Hasselblads or Fujis, right? Those bodies... Like the Fuji, I'm looking at a Fuji, it's like 12 grand just for the body. Hasselblads, that
already sounds expensive.
The base model just for the body is 50 grand. Right? We're talking medium format cameras, right?
50 grand.
Yeah, the sensors on these things are phenomenal.
Right.
Okay. And just the body is 50 grand. Right. So I don't know if that's right. I think it's 50. It could be 70. Like it's phenomenal.
Right.
So anyway, so the point is like if you want less editing time, get a better camera. If you want better editing capability, get a better camera. Right. Yeah, you need to improve on your editing skills, but you'll have a better chance of getting a crisper image with a better camera and a better lens.
Would you rate setting up a desktop setup or laptop for editing? Like, what's your take on that?
So I run on a MacBook Pro with an M1 chip.
That was my next question. What are you running?
Yeah. I just like the user friendliness of a MacBook is like just wins.
I've never used Apple.
I've had Windows PCs before and just always had issues with them. I just don't have an issue with Mac.
Right. It's interesting. Because I'm looking at getting a new laptop for that specifically.
Yeah.
Because I like to be able to take my work elsewhere and, because I do work like in an office for my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So at lunchtime, I actually use that time to
do
get photos.
Do you want a drink?
No, I'm fine. Thank you, man. I'm good. Ooh. Cheeky. I'm fine, though.
Sparkling water?
Oh, I love sparkling water. That's great. No, I'm fine.
Okay.
You're a gentleman. Hospitality here is fantastic.
Right.
Oh, man.
It's all about making you feel comfortable.
I'm so good.
So I can get the juicy stuff.
Nothing's off limits, you know that.
So yeah. I forgot to mention something. So I shoot with a Canon, and I've had Sonys before, and I've had Panasonics before.
Panasonic.
I just find that Canon's menu system is so much easier
I like the color grading that they come
for
in with.
my preference. That's my preference.
Right.
Like, what I tell people is every single brand has a version of every other brand's version, right?
Similar lenses, right?
Yeah, and it just depends on what your preference is.
Mhm.
So if you want to buy a camera, go to a shop, have a play with it, see whether or not you're able to, whether or not you like the menu system, stuff like that, right? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that's going to be using the menu system.
100%, yeah.
And I just found that Canon's menu system is a lot flatter than Sony's and Panasonic's. Like, and flatter from the point of view of you have to drill down really deep to find things, whereas Canon's is only like 2 levels.
Yeah, right.
Right. So it's really easy to find.
That's good to know. This is really good insight, actually. It's actually reinforcing what I want to get by the end of the month. This is awesome.
Yeah. And then, as I mentioned, like customizing all the buttons. And I think Sony, you can customize all the buttons as well. But because Joaquin Carlson had a R5, I was like, that's what I'm buying.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I love his photos. I just want to be able to shoot like him. And the way that he customized his buttons really made sense from a during a shoot, like not accidentally like hitting the wheel system or like hitting a button accidentally, like just where like your hands are placed on the camera. Like he really thought about limiting the opportunity for accidentally pressing something that would impact the next photo that you would take.
Right.
So yeah.
Clever. Now I have to look into that. I've never really looked into customization like that. Like I said, I'm still relatively new. I feel I'm still very new to this.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
It's perfect time.
Yeah, absolutely. Any time's a good time to pick up a new hobby and things. And I think once I kind of break that notion that it's just a hobby for me, then I think that's where it will generate more.
Yeah.
Like better quality, better opportunities, those kind of things.
Yeah. 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 Look, I recently switched. So within like my Mac, I switched between Final Cut Pro, which is Apple's video editing, across to Adobe Premiere Pro. And that took me like 2 months to transition because I kept wanting to go back to Final Cut, and I kept
whole familiarity thing, right?
Yeah, and because I'd bought like a heap of assets in Final Cut, and I didn't know how to do it in like Premiere Pro, and then like when I was in Premiere Pro, I just felt like an idiot. Like I felt stupid because I didn't know how to do things. But then I just kept at it, kept at it, and like so thankful for like doing stuff in Premiere Pro because there's so many more options. Yeah, it's a difference between, I guess, and this is just my opinion, it's a difference between driving a Toyota versus driving a Porsche.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the dials and in terms of the menu options and in terms of
performance.
Yeah,
And it's funny because the reason why I bring it up is that, I guess, between us. No, I actually edit everything on my phone specifically.
Yeah.
I haven't really tried anything else in terms of like using a laptop or anything like that.
Yep.
I've always found that, when you look at Instagram, you generally look at it on your phone. So if I can edit the quality of photos within my phone on Lightroom Pro and it comes out just as well, it translates really well to everyone else's screen. Besides going from Samsung to like Apple Glass, I know it's a bit different in terms of how it comes out, the colors.
So you're a Samsung guy? Oh, shit.
Through and through. Hence why I've never used Apple before. I knew this was coming when this came up.
You need to come to the dark side.
That is the highlight of my day. Yeah, a few people said that.
Yeah.
I've been looking for IPS screens out.
Not that Apple's the dark side.
No,
but
of
anyway,
course not. No.
Samsung always comes out with all of the new mods first, and then it takes a couple of versions for Apple to go, hey, that's actually really good. Like,
Yeah.
let's do that.
I've seen the 15 and how good everything comes out with my friends' photos and everything. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I want to do that. Like, that looks awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I think the usability in transferring images and everything across with AirDrop, like, it's just so much easier. But again, I think I'm just so hard-strung about the whole, I've been Samsung from Galaxy 1 all the way through.
To Galaxy 3000.
Yeah, apparently, evidently. I'm meant to bet, yeah.
It's the Ultra S4 or something, isn't it?
I think we're up to 24.
Oh, shit.
Galaxy 24. Ultra.
Nice.
Yeah. We're getting there. But, yeah. So we'll see how we go. That's probably the next, like, whether I go super hardcore with my camera gear and everything and then, you know, kind of bolt on with that, getting more Apple and Mac and all that stuff. But I was thinking, yeah, stick to my laptops and Windows and just go heavier on the camera gear. That's the plan.
Yeah, I think, you know, Apple, Samsung, at the end of the day, like, we all have our preferences.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing is you're doing something with it.
True.
And you're creating photos, images. Do you do video?
No, that's something I want to explore this year. That's why I want to go the R5 because it's the capabilities that you've got is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so versatile. But that's why I want to go because, again, all my friends, like my little core creative group, they're all videographers, cinematographers, all those kind of things, and they're really upkicking it. And they're getting the proper rigs, like 25, 30 grand rigs. Like,
Yeah.
I look at it and go, it's more expensive than my car. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But the quality of content is unbelievable. Even from just a raw shot, I'm like, Jesus Christ. As soon as you get it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I know the value of spending money.
Plus, with everything that's happening on like social media and video is just, if you're a photographer that hasn't taken up video, you're kind of like shooting yourself in the foot because everybody wants video as well.
I agree.
If not only.
How do you find it in terms of, you know, when you're on a shoot, how do you divide your time up between your videography time and your photo time?
So depending on what they've specifically asked me for, I'll coordinate what happens first and then what happens second.
Right.
So, but like, let's say the priority is photos.
Right.
Like we'll do a particular scene and we'll do photos, but then because I'm very aware of specific details or like specific like movements, you know, I'm a professional people watcher as well. I'll be like, holy shit, can you do that again? Just let me like capture that in video. And then sometimes they'll be like, what did I do?
I love that. What did I do? And I just have to scroll back on the wheel.
Yeah, but then even if we are just like transitioning to the next scene, or like having a conversation, and they'll like do something, I'd be like, hey, can you just like do that again? You know, that little micro mannerism that has captured, you know, like an essence of who they are. I'll be like, yeah, can you let me just get that.
Do you run the two, like, you know, do you have it like on a, like also you have two cameras kind of rocking side by side?
One camera.
One
camera. This is the whole, my opinion is this is the advantage of an R5 and learning how to use the R5 effectively. I can switch between video and photo in like half a second.
Oh my God. Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because, you know, like when you're doing a photo shoot and with my style of how I shoot, capturing those in the moment moments, it's important for me to like flick between photos and video really quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Because then it's like, you know, it's fast.
And you can kind of recapture that moment.
Yeah.
Without losing too much of
the
the authenticity of it.
And like I've had like behind the scenes cameras like set up, you know, and all that type of stuff. It's kind of just not the same.
No.
And then I've tried having a GoPro or setting up my phone on my digital SLR as well. So like I'm, you know, but then that like takes up memory, and it takes up battery, like specifically on the phone, and then the GoPro footage isn't as good, and I'm like,
And how do you kind of connect it all together and everything?
yeah, and then you have to like merge everything.
Yeah, that's
and,
hard.
Yeah,
Different qualities of capturing, right? Like in terms of the images.
yeah.
That'd be hard.
So, so I just like, I think the option, like, there's multiple options on how you can do it, but I always end up going back to, I just have the capability of doing photos and video on the one camera.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep doing that.
Do they have like multiple SD card slots and things? Like you can just load it up with as much as you can?
Yeah, multiple SD cards.
Perfect.
So I've got a 1 terabyte CF Express on the R5.
Jesus.
And then I've got a 256 gigabyte SD card on the R5.
Jesus. That's pretty serious memory. I guess you don't want to miss on anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You don't want to be stopping and trying to, put another one in there or anything like that.
Yeah. And then I shoot in 4K.
Right.
I shoot in 4K and then I downscale in my editing.
Really?
Because then you've always got the quality.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
So another thing is, some clients or some models want a specific aesthetic, but I'll always shoot in the highest quality first.
Of course.
And then I'll downscale in the editing.
Right.
Because if I shoot in like a, let's say like a vintage format, like preset or whatever, I can't upscale that. Because you can't
limited to colours and the lighting and everything.
Yeah, and you can't increase the quality.
True.
You can always downscale the quality.
Right.
Which is also, I guess, another reason why, the piece around buying the better camera, buying the better lens, because you can always downscale.
But at least you'll capture it at the best quality you can.
Correct. And that whole piece around downscaling is, you want to give yourself the greatest opportunity to be more creative.
Right.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to limit yourself, right? Especially when you're out there and...
Yeah.
Right.
Like, top speed of a Toyota Camry is what? Like, let's say it's 150.
Yeah.
Right? You ain't taking the Toyota Camry to 200.
No, because it can't get there physically.
You can take a Ferrari to 200.
And beyond.
Yeah. And you can take a Ferrari to 150. Right? But, like, if you want to go higher, you got to get the better car.
True. You also get to 150 faster and easier.
Correct.
That's what I've kind of found in terms, like, again, moving from camera to camera. But even then, everyone keeps telling you, as soon as you upgrade from what I've got now, it's just, you'll see the difference instantaneously.
Yeah. And
I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah. When I upgraded from the 5D Mark IV to the R5, I was like, holy shit.
That's what I can't wait.
Holy shit. Like, the jump was like, and people started noticing, like, straight away.
Right. Well, funny, my first gig that I'll have with the R5 will be Melbourne Fashion Week. Get to shoot runway, which is going to be an interesting one. I did it last year, but I had my 5D3 and 24 to 70.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to try and I'll ball out and get a proper lens, like the one I want to get for Canon. It's the new one they brought out, like the 35 to 100 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah.
But expensive.
Yeah. And the eye tracking on the R5 is fucking mental.
There's it.
It's so mental.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah. And the low light capability as well is just amazing.
I'm really keen for that for like sunset, dusk shooting and all that kind of stuff. It's just going to bring out so much better quality. Because I'm finding, I'm getting a lot of grainy kind of photos and all that kind of stuff. It's
which is totally fine if that's the aesthetic.
Yeah. To some degree. I want to make sure, again, that whole capturing high quality and downscale if required, like that's notion's going to stick with me for a while. Like, that'll be good.
Yeah. And then I want to see more videos out of you this year.
Oh, really want to try.
Come on, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the principles are exactly the same.
Right.
They just use it's like
I think it's more the editing side that I'll need to learn, and like splicing it all together, and actually creating a nice little vid.
yeah, and it's the difference between like English and Chinese.
Right.
It's just English and Chinese videos and photos.
Yeah.
Right.
Essentially the
They
same.
just use they're essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
They're just using different words.
Yep.
Right.
That's a really good way to look at that.
Like
Holy
in
shit.
like in photography, we got presets.
Yeah, of course.
And we got Lightroom. In videography, you got Adobe Premiere Pro and you got LUTs.
Yeah.
Lookup tables.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You got exposure, you got contrast, you got color grading, you got everything.
Yeah. They both have those. Potato, tomato.
Yeah. You can shoot in RAW or you can shoot in JPEG.
What's your preference? Raw?
Yeah, RAW. It's always RAW.
Yeah.
So that's the terminology for like for photography. For videography, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
You can shoot a flat image, or you can shoot in log, which is basically RAW, right? And every brand of camera will have a version of log, and then you just have to download the LUT to convert it from. And this is all sounding like Chinese, I can tell.
No, but it's also things that I've heard before as well. But I need to hear it again.
Yeah, you go to the brand website of the camera that you bought, and you download the converter, their log to Rec 709.
Yeah, right. And that's how you get.
That's how you bring the color out. Yeah,
that's cool. It's like all my friends all use Sony. Funny enough.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, get it. We can you can use all our batteries and all our lenses. I'm like, no, Canon. I'm going to stick to Canon.
Well, I was thinking about the Sony FX3 because the movie that's out on the Disney Channel, the movie that was out on the cinema, The Creator, was all filmed on a Sony FX3.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Yeah.
Which only costs $6,000 for the body.
Yeah.
Right?
Lens-wise, though?
Well, Sonys have always been the option of buying third-party lenses like Sigma, Tamron.
Yeah, they use a Tamron.
Yeah, they've all been able to do that.
Yeah.
However, I got reminded last night on a podcast that the RF lenses for Canon, Canon have. They had They had a 7-year agreement, and the 7-year agreement was that 7-year agreement for the industry that they have proprietary ownership over the RF mount, but that 7 years is up this year.
Oh,
which means we are going to see third-party lens makers make RF mount lenses. Enter Sigma.
It's funny because this is why I want to go Sony, because the lens capabilities are so much cheaper.
Correct. They are cheaper.
Like the Tamrons are like half the price of the RF class.
Correct.
But see the value of,
So this morning I looked up what date, what month this year the 7-year was up.
Oh God, please don't tell me. When is it?
It's actually February. It's actually this month. So we should be seeing by the end of this month some Sigma RF mount lenses.
Like Sigma Art Series ones.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's a bit of a game changer then.
That's a fucking game changer. Absolutely. Not that I've had any issues with my my Canon RF lenses.
Evidently, yeah. Your photos are awesome. So, yeah, I wouldn't say so. But, yeah, I'm very curious about that, whether I stick to that, because again, that lens alone is like $5,000, and don't get me wrong, it's the range. I'll never have to buy another lens again. It's literally everything that I need to shoot. Like when do I need to go any bigger than 100 or any wider than 35 or 24? I won't need to.
Yeah,
for what I'm going to be shooting anyway. Plus videoing. Do you find it's better on a 24-70 when you video?
Look, the 24x70 is the workhorse lens.
Yeah,
because it gives you that versatility and the quality. The the 50 mil is what I'm shooting the podcast on both of these cameras.
Yeah.
Is the better lens. It's just it doesn't have that, like, it's, you know.
Yeah. 1.2, 1.8.
1.2.
Yeah.
On both.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Geez, they're good lenses.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Quality build, like everything. Everything's just phenomenal.
Yeah, right. No,
Yeah.
they look good. But it's one of those things. I just can't wait to upgrade the kit because I think, again, it's more. I can take more capacity on for work and
Yeah.
because I think my D3 is on the way out. I haven't had it serviced since I've got it, and it's been a long time.
What's the shutter count
I
on
haven't
it?
even looked.
Oh shit.
I haven't looked. It's definitely getting like I almost feel like it's like misfiring to some degree. No, I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, sometimes you get it. I'm like, oh, that's a weird. Hey, what did that happen to, mate?
Maybe there's a sand grain in the button or something.
Possibly.
You just might need to
Again,
get
yeah,
an air
I'm kind of
blaster in it.
I'm kind of letting it. I'm just going to use it until it dies, and then, you know,
And then it becomes a prop.
correct. That's a really. Oh my god! It's like you've done this before.
Bro. my shutter count on the R5. Do you want to take a guess on what that is? I've had that for I think about 2.5 years.
2.5 years. 100,000.
Not even close.
250. No way. 320. No way. 410. Still. 500.
It's over 500.
Jesus.
The last time I checked was 500, and I checked that probably about 4 months ago.
In 2 years.
Yeah.
How often do you get them serviced and stuff then?
I've had it serviced once.
500. Wow.
It's
a
a-
lot of actuations.
It's a workhorse,
Yeah,
mate.
mate. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. You're really selling this to me quite heavily.
That's why I'm thinking about getting a second one.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why not? If I get a second one,
Mm.
what I'll do is the new one will be my photo
Yeah.
priority one, and the old one will be video.
Because you can set it up. Yeah, true.
Yeah. And then I can add a third camera
Oh my
to
God.
this whole podcast,
Oh.
which means I can either get a second talker and interview 2 people, or it'll be like setting the scene capture.
Because I was actually going to ask you, have you done when there's multiple people here and, you know, or is it just one-on-one so far?
It's just one-on-one so far.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely looking into that and expanding that a little
Yeah,
bit.
100%. I've got Elo wants to come back
Oh, mate,
with
so-
T on.
Yeah.
And like, you know, just kind of like,
Talk
yeah.
shop and, you know.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Like banter
Yeah,
and
mate.
all of that, right?
Yeah. I get that. That's
I don't know when I'm going to do that yet, but that's definitely something like in the pipeline.
I guess when you have your third, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We've got the space for it. It's awesome. It's comfy.
Yeah. But also because like I've just been getting like great feedback from people all over Australia, you know.
Have you found it's been good since, you know, launching it with your Instagram presence and, you know, in that sense as well? Is it easier to have launched the podcast in that sense?
It's easier because I'll either have done many photo shoots with people already, so then I can invite them to the podcast. So in terms
Right.
of guests, it's easy for me to kind of like get people
Yep, of
come on
course.
board.
Yep.
And then from a photographer point of view, like I've had people like yourself who I've only met a couple of times. And then others who I know intimately and like, you know, they want to be on board. But then I also want to like, because my idea was to focus in on photographers and models, but now I've expanded it to other creatives. And so, you know, I think exposing or highlighting other creatives just adds more of that understanding in the sense of we can be creative in all aspects of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And being creative is important because it helps us access the other part of our brain and look for growth opportunities or, you know, different perspectives.
Yeah.
You know,
Of course.
like Eli's an executive chef. he's a sneakerhead and he does dance.
Yeah.
You know, like
Versatility is unbelievable.
yeah. And then I had a music producer who like worked FIFO, you know, and he's like set up a photography studio.
It's unbelievable.
You know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Slothy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's great. I watched that one. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting story.
Yeah. And then Tion was like he's a DJ
Yeah.
for Kiss FM. And he came to Australia to play soccer.
Yeah, right.
And he's a teacher. So like
It is cool.
and then like all of the models who like either do pole or like they've been doing modeling for like years, and you know, like some are mums and
Well, I
like,
guess
it's
this is what I was going to ask you. Like bolting on from that, what's your general tip for, I guess, new models? Like, what's your go-to kind of tip for them when they're starting out and doing this? Like, if you're shooting with someone who's relatively brand new to to modeling, everything like that, like, what would be your piece of advice for them?
so be clear on what you want and what your boundaries are, and then go out and find someone to help you execute on that.
That's awesome.
Execute on the idea. Don't be too critical on yourself
Awesome.
as well, because I think if you're too critical on yourself, people get like anxious and they get nervous,
Right.
and then they don't want to do it again. When in actual fact, the activity of execution, the activity of doing the activity is going to help you get better and better and better. You know, it's like when you first picked up a camera, you're like, what the fuck, like all these fucking menu options. Like
you just went to order and just started pressing a button.
yeah, like I'm self-taught, and I kept hearing people say, you need to get out of order, you need to get out of order. So I got out of order, and I'm like, holy shit, like what the fuck's going on here? And then you just get better and better and better because you understand it, right? And now whenever I go to shoot, I know I always start. So my formula is I always start on one particular setting, and then I'll work out like through the activity of either surveying the location or like trying to understand what's going on with the wind, where's the sun, like how much natural light is coming into this like bedroom or like bathroom, or like where is the natural light, you know? Like sometimes I walk around a house, I'm like, where's the fucking sun coming in?
Yeah.
You know, like I remember I did this shoot, and it was super dark place. And there was natural light. So it was a house that was like in a community where all the houses are like really close together. So, and the fences were really quite high.
Right.
And one of the spots that had the natural light coming in was in the kitchen, and it just so happened to be falling right like on the floor next to the oven. So I'm like, hello, stepbrother.
Stuck in the oven. Yeah, right.
But like, you know.
Dead set.
Yeah. So going back to what advice you'd give to a model, like
Don't be too critical.
don't be too critical. Try lots of different things. Be clear on what you're trying to achieve and what your boundaries are, and then go find someone that'll help you kind of do that.
That's awesome.
You know, because the photographer that you may find may be in the same position as you. They're still trying to work out what the fuck their style is, or what they want to do, or like things like that, right? So, yeah, like the activity of not doing the activity is going to limit you from making any progress.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it makes a lot of sense. No, it's always been a curious question for me to kind of, you know, because I work with a lot newer models and everything like that. It's like, you know, what do I say? How do I translate that to them, and what to do and feel comfortable and all that kind of jazz?
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I don't think you would find a lot of people that would feel uncomfortable with you, because you've got such a nice smile.
Thank you.
And like you smile with your eyes as well, you know, and I think Yeah, like my number one principle is people will always remember you based on how you made them feel.
Love that.
So if you're having a good time,
Yeah.
and I'm making you have a good time, and we're like laughing about me flicking my hair, or I've pulled my man bun out, or like I'm doing a pose, then that's good.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm laughing at myself every single day.
100%.
And you know, I think a lot of people, what's the word? Negate the benefits of getting into a pose.
I'd do it just, it's so much funner to do it.
Yeah, and I it's interesting, right? Because I did a shoot like last week, and I had a model do my lost the remote pose on this couch.
Yeah.
Right. And I showed her how to do it, and she got into position, and I took my shots, and we did a variation, and I showed her the photos on the back of the camera, and she says to me, "You know, that was really quite awkward to do. It felt awkward, but like looking at the photos, they are phenomenal."
Yeah, of course.
And she's like, "This just proves the fact that you got to trust the process." And I said, "Yes, you do need to trust the process, but you also need to trust that the photographer knows what he's doing."
Yeah, that's true.
As well.
I think I've always found now in my early days, I'm only as good as the people I work with. I think that's a big one for me. You know, like I work with my friend Thea, and it's unbelievable. Like the content we always get, it's like I've never been disappointed any time we've shot, whereas I've always found difficult with, I guess, newer models that I've worked with where I'm not great at communicating what we're trying to execute. So it's almost like we're kind of both stuck in that little middle part. But the photos still come out okay, but I'm like, I know we can do better. But, you know, I've worked with some high-level models recently, and it's just been, the photos are awesome.
So that's my challenge to you.
Yeah.
Is how do you elevate those photo shoots and those photos when you've worked with someone for the first time?
True. You know, funny enough, it's the whole, like, I want to get into the poses with them and all the kind of just like that, to me, is the fun part of this.
Yeah.
And then they feel more comfortable, hence the photos become a lot more, you know, they're not so rigid and stiff, and, you know, that's...
It's a bit like your sales training.
Yeah, true.
Right?
That's
You're
true.
training people how to be better sales people. A good photographer, it doesn't matter if you've had experience or not.
True.
I'm going to get the exact same photos.
I actually, that's actually a really good point. It's a good point you make of that.
So everybody that comes to me, regardless of your experience, you're going to get the same experience out of me.
Yeah.
Because
consistency.
Yeah, it's because it's consistency, but it's also like muscle memory.
Yeah.
I've done it that many times.
You know what works, what lighting works, what angles work.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I go back to the same studios or the same locations that I've shot at, I'm working with a couple of models next week and the week after, and I'm just kind of like in my head, they're like, "Oh, I love those shots." I'm like, "You're great. I know how to get those because we've been there. I've seen it, you know, all those kind of things. I know the time of day to be there."
Yeah.
You know, the studios we go to in Carlton, like, in his studio, beautiful for, like, you know, textures of that building. But now I know which spots, which locations, how to pose them, which position, where to put the mirror, you know, those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyone who comes into that space will get the shots.
Yeah. I guess for me, I've also been really comfortable with being not comfortable.
Right.
So being thrown in the deep end is where I can kind of work my formula and work my magic to create phenomenal images regardless. Because you know what, like, so in an equation, right? You've got like how you use the camera. Rewind. You've got camera equipment and quality of camera equipment.
Okay.
Then you've got how you use the camera.
True.
Then you've got like objectives for the photo shoot.
Never thought about that.
Then you've got environmental issues. Right, either outdoor or indoor. Then you've got model experience. Then you've got wardrobe, right? And you've got all these things, right? I'm really good at, regardless of the weakest link, I'll always make a strong chain
Right. That's a really good way to look at it.
because of the fact that I think that I can control every aspect or influence every aspect to be able to get the right outcome. You know, because there are different levers that you need to pull for each one of those particular aspects.
Yeah.
And if you've got no experience as a model, that's fine. I got your back. I'll show you how to do it. I'll give you the experience. I'll teach you more than you teach me. If you've got all the experience in the world, then my biggest issue is probably going to be the environment. So I'll look for particular aspects to get that creative look or that abstract look or
Different angle somewhere,
Yeah.
That's what we were playing out with last time. I think the theme was a bit more of a voguey kind of edgy look, still, in the space of like being wet in the water and, with all, like we're at Half Moon Bay and doing all like the rock stuff. But even then, like just literally being on the ground, kind of legs up in the air, but shooting down upwards, it was like just a completely different look and a vibe. And like the photos that came out, I'm like, these are awesome. Like this was cool. It's supposed to just be flat shooting, standing still. And, I think a lot of people kind of have misconception on that. And they're like, when I tell them how many photos I've taken for a shoot, and they're like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, you'll probably get 1 in 10 sometimes. Sometimes. It might just be how it came out, Yeah. I always work off like, if I work with someone and the percentage of return of good photos, that's how I kind of work it. I go, wow, that was a really good shoot.
Yeah.
I got X amount of percent of shots that came out well. Yeah, but that's, again, depends on how you want to look at it. But yeah, the different angles now, and when I say, it looks really flat, like, what do you mean? Like this. And then you change an angle slightly or this and that, body positions, and all of a sudden, this is what being creative is.
Yeah.
This is what photography is, capturing a moment in time that you'll never get again.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And it's just, that's the benefit is when I see a capture and I show the model and they get excited, I'm like, that's why I do it. This is why we do it.
I've done my job.
And the biggest thing I think what I want to look for this year is I want to look at my folio and look at my work and go, I'm proud of what I've done.
Yeah.
I'm proud of this.
You should be, man.
No,
You've got some good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It means a lot.
Just
means a lot.
not a lot of videos.
I don't think of any videos. But we'll work on that. But no, I think that's the goal this year is I want to be proud of my work, because if you take pride in something, you really, really look forward to doing it. And it's one of those things. Yeah, that's what it is. I want to be recognized in the sense of, from people that I look up to and go, wow, that was great. I'm like, thank you. Oh my God.
Do you ever, this is a loaded question because I know what the answer is, but do you ever get creative blocks?
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
How do you manage them?
How I manage them? I go to different locations. I go to different spots. I work with different people. That's how I do it. Because at times, people see the images that I can post, or anyone like, I want to do that. I want that. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I've done that before. We've done that before. It's been done. But sometimes if you go, I don't know, like I like beach shoots, but my friend and I, Jordan, went to Ferry Cove in Wilson's Prom. Never seen like a landscape like that. And it just completely changed my aspect. I'm like, all right, I've got to start venturing out to different spots, and I've got to start making the effort going out to different places.
Yeah.
And my big ones, I want to start shooting indoors more this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't shoot indoors very often.
Why?
More to the space and like studio highs and things like that. Like that's.
Do you get claustrophobic?
No, it's more the experience. It's more time and like, for example, like I can go to beach after work during summer and still shoot. Whereas on the weekends, if I need to hire like an apartment or something or an Airbnb to shoot, like it's trickier to kind of navigate that.
Yep.
So I'm working on that as well. But hopefully if I get my own space this year, I can set up, things like this and be able to shoot in spaces.
Yeah,
that's the
good.
plan.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that go in behind the works, but video.
Okay, so video.
Yeah.
Location shoots. Potentially getting a new camera. Anything else for 2024? What does 2024 look for, Rich?
That is, you've kind of encapsulated everything. But, be proud of the work and, good things will come from that. That's all I'm really working on. Because like I said, it's also meeting all the new people.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because it's cool now because the more recognition you get and the better work you produce, obviously the better people and caliber of people you get to work with in a sense. I know it's not great to, scale it in that sense, but again, there are people who I've wanted to work with for so long, but they've never really looked at my work because it wasn't up to the standard they want.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I can do that, and that feels good.
Yeah, and it's all about progress, right? And being comfortable with where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think that it is a little bit finicky with if other people don't want to work with you and they didn't previously and then all of a sudden they do. It's kind of like
No, but I understand the whole notion of progress too, right?
I understand it as well. Yeah,
and you got to be at some point. You've got to be honest with yourself. Like I've gotten better. I know I have. So now I've got an opportunity to be working with better people. But like opportunities like Melbourne Fashion Week and runway shooting, like I haven't done that in ages. It's cool to be asked to do that. That was awesome. You know, that's cool recognition.
How did you get into that?
I was shooting for a brand called Sea Witch Swimwear, a bikini brand in Australia, and Simone, a fantastic lady. She works out of Melbourne, and
So you know Blaze?
Yeah, I've met her before. Yeah, I shot her at Melbourne Fashion Week last year.
Yeah.
She had the big wings and unbelievable. It was cool. But yeah, that aspect again, learning in that space, but having that as part of like I guess my resume. It's really cool, but getting published a few times, several times last year and everything, and now I'm pushing for like bigger magazines, and that's the goal. You know what I mean? Like,
which magazine? Which magazine do you want to be in the most?
Maxim, that's one of them. Yeah, because that's the sort of vibe and style I'm kind of pushing for, and I've got 2 shoots I've done recently that I feel are to the level that I can submit to that. But there's a few that I've just been looking at, 100K, 89, like all those kind of ones with that kind of level. If I can get published in that, happy days. If I can get a cover, even better. So that's a cool thing. But
hopefully this year.
Yeah, hopefully I can get a video out too.
And a second podcast on Unbuttoned.
Would love that a lot. Not going to lie. This has been awesome.
As a photographer, where do you think... What advice would you give to someone wanting to take up photography?
Keep trying. Keep capturing. Keep trying new things. Because you never know what you'll fall into and what your niche is. I think it's funny, the constant thing that I get from, I guess, my mates and, oh my God, you got such a good job. You get all this. I'm like, but it's not about the girls I hang out with and all those kind of things. It's like, because I'm trying to capture different images and all the thing. That's the benefit of it, right? They're beautiful. It's that's a benefit of what I do. That's not what we do it. That's not what I do it for. And I think that's where the aspect is a disconnect with a lot of that. They just see the product and it's just, pretty girls and this and that. I'm like, that's not what it's about, though.
People still think that I am the product. I get the sugar daddies messaging me going, pay you $7,000 just for conversation. I'm like, bro, I'm not the person on that photo. What are you doing? Can't you read the bio?
But take the $7,000. $7,000, $7,000. You know what I mean?
And then any of you bastards out there want to make a fake account for me, please go right ahead because I need to see a fake account of myself.
Do it.
It's been a while.
Oh,
it's been a hot minute. I need to know that someone still loves me.
But no,
I put that on Instagram note, right? And someone replied, "FR?" ? And I'm like, holy shit, I don't know what FR means. And then it's
for real.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I guess going back to that question about what would you tell a photographer? For me, it's networking is probably like the biggest thing I've learned to be successful is networking in this industry.
Yeah.
Because everyone's willing to help, but you just need the right people helping you. That is probably the biggest thing. So networking and trying. I've tried and failed so many times. Hundreds and thousands of photos that I've taken that are just not up to the standard that I would go, I like that. I'm proud of that.
So my take on that is don't be afraid to take photos in lots of different situations. Using either your phone or using a digital SLR, because if you're taking photos, you're learning, and I know on phones there are apps now that give you full capabilities if you are using a digital SLR, but it's on your phone. And then the other component that you mentioned about networking is really focusing on your people skills, because your people skills are the ones that are going to improve over time.
Yeah.
And you're going to meet more people that will either help to elevate you or give you opportunities to shoot more. So
I'd agree with that wholeheartedly. Because if you can't talk to people and follow up and the basic communication pieces, like it's kind of all for naught because you don't get another opportunity again.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need to be like your subject doesn't necessarily need to be people, but you still need people skills.
I agree.
To be able to meet people to like shoot cars or shoot animals or whatever.
Products, anything.
Or products, yeah, 100%.
Like I did one for a restaurant in Mordialloc called Tommy Ruff.
Yeah.
Great relationship with those people. That amazing. And that was a really fun experience to just be a part of that and being in the fun atmosphere and trying to capture that. It was all supposed to be video, but I did all the photos for it.
Were they upset that they didn't get a video?
No, they did. They did get a video, but not from me. But we'll work on that. I'm gonna say, hey, I'm practicing. Do you mind if I come in?
Yeah.
Offer the time and get the practice. That's what I'm gonna be doing for the next, if I'm getting the encouragement to do videos, absolutely. I'm just gonna offer that for a while.
Yeah.
Until I get to a standard like, that's good.
Yeah, sweet.
So
how can people find you?
Right now, Instagram, second.sky_media.
Second.sky_media. What's up with the dots and the underscores?
Second Sky was taken.
Ah!
So I had to find a way. And then there's it kind of bolts onto all the other profiles that I'm kind of making. So it's, Third Sky's my black and white one. It's very easy to follow. And the fourth Sky's going to be a bit different. So it's going to be, that's the video one. Funny enough, between us.
Fourth dimension.
Ooh, even better.
The Matrix.
But the whole thing about, your pitch and thing is that dare to elevate. That's going up different levels of the sky. That's the whole pitch behind it. Because everyone's like, oh, why'd you pick the name? Dare to elevate. That little catch and pitch. That's one of those things. Challenge yourself and you never know where you're going to go.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But,
well, so good to have you on the podcast.
This is unbelievable. It was seriously one of my favorite things I've done.
Thanks so much for coming. It's
Thank
been
you.
great. Thanks everyone for listening in. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.
See you later.